Do you believe in leprechauns? At age 21, I still believe in leprechauns, and I will tell you why. When I was about 7 years old, give or take a year or so, my sister and I had decided to put a plan to catch a leprechaun. I was 7 at the time, thereabouts, and Gabby was 2 years younger than me, so she'd be about 5 or 6, depending on when we decided on this. And this happened at my old home, and when I lived in Sandy, we had a huge backyard. I mean, I drew this picture out for you so you can see it. So here's our house, and here's the garage. But then over here we had a strawberry patch, and up here was our little playground. And if you followed the path, here was our patio. And up here we had our small pool. And then down here was our giant trampoline. Now we're 7 and 5 at the moment, so this trampoline was huge. And right here was my mom's flower patch. Up here in the front, this is our front yard. And this is a random little dirt pile that my dad had decided to just put there. That will come in handy later, and I will tell you about that. Well, it was March 16th, the day before St. Patrick's Day. And Gabby and I had decided that we were for sure going to do this plan the next morning. We had gone to bed so excited that night before because we just totally knew that we were going to catch a leprechaun. There was no reason not to. Well, as we woke up the next day, it was a fairly blustery day, as Winnie the Pooh would say it. And so it was pretty windy outside, but I mean, it was nice and green. The perfect day for catching a leprechaun. No rain, all sunshine, a little bit of wind. That's important. Don't forget that. So, we had gone outside to pick our place to set up our trap to catch the leprechaun. Now, remember our map here. We decided to set up our trap here in my mom's flower patch up against the roof and the garage here, so that when we set up our trap, it wouldn't fall over due to the wind. So we had 2 things that were part of our trap. First, we had our cup to catch him in, and then we had our bait. Lucky Charms. Easy, isn't it? And pretty self-explanatory as to why we'd use Lucky Charms to catch a leprechaun. So, what we had done was set the trap up against the garage, okay? We had set it up against the garage, and we had set all the Lucky Charms underneath it so that when he came and got the Lucky Charms, bam, we would catch him and he would give us our wishes, and it was just foolproof. It was going to happen. We were going to catch a leprechaun. So we had set outside, and we set up our area. We got our cup all set up against the garage, and we put the Lucky Charms underneath it. And we waited, and we waited, and we waited. And then finally I decided maybe he's not coming out because we're here. Well, we both decided that was probably it. So we jumped on the tramp a little bit, and then we went and swung on the swings, and we kind of went on our own adventure while waiting for the leprechaun to come and venture out and show his true self. Well, we had been out there for about 4 hours. We had played so hard and for so long until my mom called us out the back door and said that lunch was ready. And of course, we were waiting for the leprechaun, so we didn't want to go eat. But Gabby said that she was hungry, and we both gave in and decided, okay, we'll hurry and eat our lunch, and then we'll go out and check on the leprechaun. So we went inside, and we were getting our bologna sandwiches eaten, and we scarfed down our chips, and we scarfed down our milk, and my mom was asking us why we were in such a rush to finish our lunch, and we said, we have to go see if we caught the leprechaun. And she just laughed it off and said, all right, good luck. Well, we ran out that back door, and the wind had picked up even more. So we were thinking that maybe the wind had carried the leprechaun away because he's so little, and in this blustery wind, probably would have picked him up. So we ran around the corner back to our trap, and the cup was right side up. So it was not sitting like this anymore, but it was sitting like this. And Gabby and I looked at each other with big old eyes, and we just started to scream because we were ecstatic knowing that we had probably caught our leprechaun. I mean, the cup looks like this, so we were certain we had caught the leprechaun. And we ran over, and so carefully, Gabby had her hands stretched out like this so he couldn't run, and I had my hand a little bit over the top so that he couldn't jump, and I carefully picked up that cup, and there was nothing inside. Not even one Lucky Charm had been picked up or carried away or anything. And Gabby started to cry because she said he used his magic powers to get away. And we both came to the conclusion that that's what happened. And we were both, pretty disappointed that we didn't get to catch our leprechaun. But we decided that we were going to try it again next year. I mean, we can always try it again today, or later that day. But I mean, we had finally exhausted ourselves and we were ready to move on to a different action of play. Well, my sister had decided to go put on her swimsuit and go play in the pool. And I kind of figured that that's what I was going to do as well, Maybe we could try again later that afternoon. But like I said earlier, we had pretty much exhausted ourselves, and maybe we could just try to figure out a better trap for next year. All of a sudden, I was right here, and I heard my name being called out here in the front by a couple of my friends who were wanting to play. And I went out this front gate right here, and I looked to my left. I'm not sure why, but this little voice told me, Sarah, you have to look in the dirt right here. You have to look in this sand pile. And lo and behold, I looked in that sand pile, and there were two little footprints, no bigger than the size of my 7-year-old thumb. Probably about the size of my pinky now. They were pretty little, but they were just side by side right there. Only one set. There wasn't a little track or anything, but side by side footprints right next to each other in that sand pile. Nobody knows this to this day because I decided to keep it a secret just for myself. But I honestly think that something was sending me a sign to say don't give up because leprechauns really are real and we should try again next year. Well, time had gone and we had forgotten about it, and we didn't think about catching a leprechaun again the next year. But to this day, I will never forget that adventure of my sister and I taking up an entire afternoon to catch this silly leprechaun, and the little sign that was left for me to tell me that leprechauns are indeed real. Thank you.